Hello there, lovely listeners, and welcome back deep, deep down in the red rabbit hole. And we have dug deeper and deeper than we have ever dug before. And we've gone down a weird warren all around the light-hearted topic of death. So welcome back. And actually, I'm joking around a little bit there, but I think something we left on at the end of our last episode, so if you haven't listened to that, go back and give that a listen right now, was actually that it's really important, and that going down into this weird warren is offering an opportunity to talk more openly about death and to hopefully be a little bit part of the death positivity movement. So, Nikki, are you still here?
I am. I'm still alive.
You're still here. Yeah, we've not. You've not died in between episodes, which is good.
No.
No, we've not had to activate the if I go missing folder. If I go missing, or delete as appropriate.
Find a uncopyrighted version of Michael Jackson's Thriller to play.
Yes. We've not had to go there. And the lovely Sophie Duffy, are you still here?
I am still here. Hello.
How was your week down the rabbit hole?
It's been quite comforting and cozy.
Oh
Yeah.
God, we really need to change the ambience.
I know.
We're getting the horror that we really want.
Yeah, we keep saying it's horrible down here, but I think it must be quite pleasant.
Yeah, I don't mind it really.
I think authors like the time, don't we? We like the time to just get on with things and to not have worries and distractions and that. And that's what the rabbit hole provides.
Yeah, maybe it's quite mindful down the rabbit
Maybe.
hole. A little bit of digital detox, a little bit of time in the
Dark, dank, mindful writers retreat. There you go. That's the Yelp review that Sophie can leave us, or the Tripadviser.
So where we left off, we were talking a little bit about some of the kind of newer practices that, I suppose newer, but I'm saying newer. And actually, I think, Sophie, you're probably going to correct me and say that some of these things have been around for a really long time. Something I heard about the other day was having a living funeral.
Yes.
You've heard about this?
Yes, I have, and I think that's definitely an option now. If when I wrote my funeral plan during the writing of this book, and when I'd finished, I thought, do you know what? I really wish I was going to be there because it sounded really good. So I think some people do actually want to be at their funeral. So if they know they've got a life-limiting illness, if they know maybe they've not got much longer left, then they can have the people they love around them and sharing stories, sharing food, whatever it is you want to do, music. And so, yeah, I think that's quite a nice thing to do. I'm not sure if it would be for me, but who knows? Maybe. What do you think? Would you do that?
It feels a bit like a somber birthday party.
Yes.
I think I suppose it depends what kind of person you are. I'd probably want some sort of, like, I'd want a live-in gathering for a funeral rather than, I don't know if I'd party, but I suppose you make it whatever you want it to be. So if you're somebody who has really enjoyed partying, then why not have, the biggest party of your life at the end
Yeah.
of it and enjoy it? And yeah, it is that bringing together, because we want to, we're bringing all those people together after we've passed. Actually, I'm sure they'd love to actually spend that time with you and to celebrate you while you're still there to be celebrated. And I imagine it's incredibly emotional.
Yeah.
Very challenging thing.
I'm sure. And I think you're right in that you said it is an individual thing. And I guess that's what really funerals should be. However you do them, they should be, like catered towards you as a person and what you want for your family, your loved ones, your friends. So yeah, there are definitely options out there.
Do you give like funeral gifts to people, like things for you to, say remember me by, or
I think what I'm having at mine is I'm going to have all my books there, and people can take a book away with them. Not just the books I've written, by the way, there weren't that many, but all the books on my shelves, and they can have.
Self-promotion.
Well, it's one way of sort of helping my children clear my house.
And also, yeah, that actually helping out, because that's something I think about, all the stuff that I have. And I keep meaning to declutter and I keep trying. I mean, I'm literally looking around the room at it all now and thinking, gosh, somebody'd have to deal with all this stuff.
And that's another thing called Swedish death cleaning. Have you heard of that?
Oh,
No.
Yeah, it's
is that your S? Is that for S, Swedish death
Swedish.
cleaning?
No, no, it's in my book somewhere, but I don't think it's S. Yeah, it's I can't remember the name of the woman who wrote about it from Sweden, and she talks about how you should start preferably all your life, but certainly as you're getting older, starting to cut down on all your stuff because it holds us down, doesn't it? I mean, I'm a terrible hoarder, so I do struggle with this, but I think that if you gradually getting rid of things you don't need, then you're helping your whoever it is who's going to be left sorting out through your things. It's going to make their job easier, but it also makes you live your life in a slightly lighter way because you're not weighed down by
Mm,
things, and
no.
you concentrate on what's important while you're still living.
See, I like my stuff. I want to be buried with it like an Egyptian princess.
Ah, what in a pyramid?
Yeah. In a golden pyramid of, well, nail varnishes,
Nice.
I think, are the most things that I have.
Kind of want you to have a living funeral, Nikki, just so we can feel these things play out in reality.
Yeah. How
I
organised I
wish you well.
actually
I
am.
want you to be fine, but I also want to try this. I think I could get behind that. I could get behind a bit of Swedish death cleaning. I think that's what I'm going to think about next time I'm trying to declutter and I'm trying to make myself do some decluttering. Because and actually thinking about if you were leaving gifts, if I did have a life limiting illness and I knew that I wasn't going to be around for much longer, I wouldn't be thinking about I'll be giving my children this, that, and the other. I'd actually be thinking about probably making recordings or, when people do like the email accounts that they send the emails or the tapes or something like that. I'd be thinking about things that actually aren't physical things and are memories or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so actually maybe the physical things really aren't that important and we should let them go a bit sooner.
Yeah, and I know I very because I lost my dad when I was a child, so I think I've really held on to things that have meaning, and I probably put more meaning into them than they should have. But then I'm thinking, well, they don't have the same meaning to my children, so why am I still hanging on to them? Or, it just gets you thinking uh, about stuff. And like you said, I do like keeping hold of things, but I think I do need to start paring back a bit. And then I can go to the car boot sale and buy more stuff.
That's
Yeah.
the thing.
I was going to say you were starting to sound really defeatist there, Sophie.
Yeah,
I have to get rid of
yeah.
something. You don't have to get rid of anything.
No.
Just keep
Mm.
piling it higher.
I mean, when we talk about heirlooms though, and I'm gonna sound probably gonna add a few years onto myself here, but they don't make things like they used to. So, there are old things that are genuine heirlooms, but there's also all new, modern, kind of disposable rubbish that I have sitting around.
Yeah, that is true.
Those things can go. I mean, my husband's in IT, and there was definitely a point where I found a lot of old computer parts in somewhere in our home and stacked them up and told him was that was some sort of computer graveyard and he needed to get rid of them. And he just has this idea that, oh, I'll use that bit when I remake or I do that. I went, you're not going to use this stack of like computer parts is as tall as me, and the speed at which technology is moving, these are absolutely obsolete. They either need to go in the bin or where they actually a couple of them did actually go to a museum
I was
in
going to
the
say,
end. Yeah.
museum.
Yeah,
You know what it's like when you hoard stuff and when you keep stuff to use one day, you'll get rid of it because you'll be like, what, you'll wake up one morning and be like, "Oh, I'm going to clean this out." You clean it out, and literally within an hour, you're like, "Oh man, I really needed that newspaper from 1988. There was something
Every
in there."
time, every time.
yeah. We've just talked ourselves into a bit of Swedish
Yeah.
death cleaning and
Get
then
out.
back out of it again, haven't we?
Swedish death hoarding.
Yeah.
The opposite.
Yes.
I
It's
suppose it's
quite a
how you
Japanese thing too, isn't it? That is it Marie Kondo? Yeah. She's all about being
I know, but I just considering the world we live in, I mean, we're very kind of consumer, aren't we? So I think
yes.
it's really hard to not be like that because it's in your face the whole time. You're always being sold something. You're always being
Yeah.
told the new next best thing. And it is really, really hard to live in inverted commas, a simple life.
It is very hard.
And
Yes.
we're always being sold life, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're never being sold
Mm.
things that might actually support us and help us within death or to process death. We're always being sold, here's the creams to keep you youthful, and here's
That
the
is true.
vitamins that will keep you alive, and you know, and all of those sort of multi-level marketing things tend to be built on those kind of concepts, don't they? Like beauty or health or this idea of wellness.
Unless you watch daytime telly, and then a lot of those adverts are for funeral plans.
Oh.
Or life insurance.
Or is that's the market, the Midsummer
Yeah,
Murders
that's
Yeah,
the
market?
it is.
market.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, that's a busy funeral director, isn't it, in Midsummer Murders?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not going to retire there, that's for
No.
sure.
That village is like a death sentence.
Oh, you were just making me think of, isn't there a cat in a funeral? No, he's not in a funeral home, but in I think a place where I think it's retirement home, or it might even be a hospice, and goes to the beds.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, but he goes to the bed of the person that's gonna die next.
Oh,
It's like
oh,
a
like a sort of
grim
portent or
prediction, yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
really? I didn't know about
Yeah,
this.
but I think it's something to do with the smell that you give off. You know, like, just from a scientific point of view, and the heat as well. I think you get before you die, you give off a certain smell, and you kinda heat up a little bit like the rest of the I suppose, the energy in your body going.
Oh,
So the
wow.
cat is drawn to that. It's like where they say you shouldn't leave cats alone with babies because they'll sit on their face, but they're not sitting on their face because they want to kill them, they're sitting on
They
the
just
face because
wanna
that's the warmest bit,
yes.
and they don't
Yeah.
quite understand.
Oh.
And they also probably smell a little bit of milk, don't they, babies?
Yeah, you're not meant to give cats milk though, are you?
They like it though.
They like it, but
Mind
aren't
you.
they all dairy intolerant or something?
I
It's like a big
think they are a
myth.
bit lactose intolerant,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's also made me, this is something my family did. We had lots of pets when we were younger, and one of my parents' kind of reasoning for it was to introduce us to death.
Oh.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
yes, I've heard of that.
Yeah, we had a bit of a pet graveyard at the end of our garden, so we would
Oh,
have a funeral for each and every one of them, and they would be
that's very healthy. That's good parenting.
See, my
Yeah.
parents went the complete
Yeah.
opposite, Sophie.
Oh,
I had a
did they?
guinea pig that lived like 15 years. I
What?
know, because it was getting
There
replaced.
we
That's
go.
why every time I went in and I was like, I want that one with the weird pattern, and they were like, no, get the black one.
Ah,
Because they wanted
okay.
one that was easy to replace, that was just one
I
colour.
see. Oh, so you thought it should have been in the Guinness Book of
Yes.
Records,
Yeah, I thought I'm doing something right here.
but it was actually guinea pig number 5
or more.
or more.
Or it was the vitamins that you got from, that person you went to school with who started that
Oh,
MLM online. Yeah.
yeah.
My dad's funeral plan used to be, before we moved house, that he wanted to be buried at the end of the garden with all the other animals. They just said,
Aw.
"Oh, well, just put me there."
You can be buried in your garden. You just need to get
You.
permission. Yeah, you need to get permission from the council, and they got to check it's not near a sort of watercourse. And bear in mind that it might affect the sale price of your house
Gosh.
because not everyone
You
wants
have to
that.
disclose that skeleton in the garden.
In
Yeah.
fact, one of the houses I once lived in did have a bit of a headstone in the garden, but it just said David and it gave the date. So I'm assuming it was for a dog or a cat, but it just seemed a bit of a weird name for a dog or a cat. So I still don't know who David was.
Oh, now there's a book there.
Yeah.
There's a story coming right there.
See, I'm thinking now about house prices and that, and I'm thinking, do you know what? A skeleton in the garden, I'd get a better house, but also I'd get a free Halloween decoration. It's a win-win.
Oh dear. I think that I actually, on EastEnders, didn't they get the names of the core families from a graveyard in the East End?
Oh, really?
I'm sure I heard that somewhere. I don't know if I can say I'm 100% sure that's a true thing, but I'm sure like some of the, the core family names, Mitch
Yeah,
Fowler,
good local names.
yeah,
Yeah.
they went and looked on local graveyards to find names.
Oh, brilliant.
It is a great place to find characters and come up with stories. I've
It
always said
is.
that.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy a bit of grave robbing. Rubbing. Grave rubbing. Maybe the robbing too. But
Nikki, we're learning more about you
I
than
know.
we ever
Stop,
wanted
you're thinking,
to.
uh-oh.
That's why you want to find a house that's got someone at the end of the garden, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, that looks like a nice watch.
You go through the end of our old garden, go, no, that's another hamster. That's a rabbit. That's a guinea pig, though. That can't be real because guinea pigs don't die.
No, they live forever.
So when you say grave rubbing, what do you mean? Like the old brass things in the
With
churches?
the
Oh, yeah.
charcoal and the
Yeah.
and it usually picks up stuff that you can't see anymore because it becomes a bit weathered, doesn't it, the gravestone?
Yeah.
But if you do like a rubbing over it, it can pick up like designs that were, past that you perhaps the naked eye can't spot.
I mean, I do like a bit of church crawling and
Church crawling.
yes, church crawling. So where you just there's a whole load of church crawlers in this country where if you think every village, every town has got a church that's probably 1,000 years old. So it's got 1,000 years of history and artwork and genealogy and all just down the road from you. And very often they're open, they're always free, and there's a whole community on Twitter where people post like for a Monday. There's different hashtags for each day. So Monday is, for example, hashtag Memento Mori Monday, and people will post pictures of skulls on gravestones, and Tuesday is tiles on Tuesday, and it will be tiles that you find inside a church. So that it's really it's a very nice place to be on Twitter/X, which isn't always a happy place at the moment, but this is a safe community of people.
I want to go church crawling now.
Go do it. It's brilliant. And have you ever wondered why sometimes you're in a country churchyard and where the graves are, they're quite high up, so they're almost like the paths. And that's because you've got a millennia of bodies buried on top, one on top of the other. If you think about that, yeah. So and I take comfort from that it's it's just this natural part of life, and other people have walked down those paths through the church door, and we're just another generation, aren't we? And there'll be other generations to come.
Well, we are based in Northamptonshire, Sophie, and in a local village called Rothwell, we have the only bone house that's still standing in the UK.
Do you?
And it's very, although on a
Oh,
smaller scale, very similar to the Paris catacombs, which I've also been to. But it's absolutely fascinating. They have a tour there, I think, every second Sunday.
oh, brilliant. Is it in the crypt or is it a separate building?
It's under the church. So it's well worth a look if you're ever down this way. But
Oh,
the
yes.
kind of the atmosphere, I couldn't, even as a writer, I couldn't really describe it. It was dense, but it was comforting. It was dark, but it was it was very, very odd. It was a very odd sensation.
Well, when I get out of this rabbit hole, I'll have to go church crawling over there.
We should have a weird warrant for church crawling.
Yes, I think we need another one. I need to know more.
Yeah.
I'd like to find out more. You did just make me think, actually, I think I've done some death tourism.
Dark
Because
tourism.
I've been to the killing fields. Is it
Dark
dark
tourism, yeah.
tourism? We're talking about, yeah,
Death
dark
tourism, I
tourism,
think, is going
sorry.
around killing people, technically.
Okay. Is that the next
That's
serial
the
killer in your
next
next
one,
book? Yeah, no, I've been to the killing fields.
Oh,
And
in Cambodia. Is that?
yes, and I read the
Yeah.
very famous book while I was traveling. So I think I picked it up on one of the hostels we were staying at, sort of book exchange kind of thing, and read the book and then went there. And that was, yeah.
Wow.
That
Yeah.
because you made me think of it because there's a big structure in the middle that is full of bones and
Gosh.
yeah. And having read the book, it then kind of put it all into a different kind of context, that the processes that were described in the book. Yeah, but I'd forgotten
Wow.
about that. That was a very long time ago. But I have done some dark tourism then. Yeah. And there were signs up saying not to smile. Which I kind of thought, why do we need to be told that? I didn't feel I need to be instructed that. But then I suppose it's because of perhaps we don't have an open dialogue and we don't talk openly about these things. So somebody might react in an odd way. You know, they might, yeah,
I
might,
suppose they want people to be respectful, maybe not be taking photos or whatever. But yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because we want to go to these places and you sort of try not to be voyeuristic, or but it's often it might just be to pay your respects or to just to contemplate the horrible things we can do to each other, and just to remind ourselves most people are good and have good intentions, but it just can go horribly wrong.
yeah. And I think not to forget.
Not to forget those were all those bones were once living, breathing people.
So, Sophie, once again, your book is called,
D is for death.
and you do the whole alphabet.
I do. I tried to cover all. It's the book I wanted to read when I was going through my chemotherapy. I just wanted a book that was a bit of everything, and I couldn't find it, so I
You wrote,
wrote
well,
it.
that's what we do, isn't it? We can't find the book we want to read, so we just write it ourselves.
Yeah, and I can't claim to be an expert. Like, I'm not a funeral director. I'm not a doctor. I'm not, you know, an archaeologist, but I'm just interested. So I kind of call myself a bit of a curator of death, which also makes me sound like a serial killer.
You're a rabbit holer. You're a
I'm a
weird
rabbit
Warren
holer.
Spelunker.
Yeah, that's exactly what I am. Yeah.
I think that's a good thing to be.
And you said at the time, in the sort of last episode, you said you couldn't read or write fiction at the time.
Yeah, well, when you have chemo, you get that sort of chemo fog where you just feel so rotten, and because I had it during COVID. I was in having weekly chemo, sort of on my own with a mask on, a cold cap on my head, trying not to lose my hair, and glasses, and I couldn't even fit earphones in to sort of listen to podcasts. So and I couldn't read, and I just so it took me a while to kind of get back into words and writing and everything. So non-fiction was an easier way in for me
And
somehow.
the listeners are probably going to want to know, are you okay now, Sophie?
Yes, so far so good. 4 years post surgery, I'm doing all right. Yes. I must just say it was a bra that saved my life, because I do write about this in the book, because I it it was as during COVID, as shops were beginning to open, I went to Marks and Spencer's. I needed a new bra, but I wasn't able to try it on, so I just grabbed one and then tried it on at home. It was a bit uncomfortable, and I just thought, oh, I'll get used to it. And you know how they dig in. Some bras are bad bras, really. It was a badly fitting bra, and I found a lump where the underwire was digging in. So I showed it to the GP, and I said, I think it's my bra. And she said, I think it might be cancer. She was very, very honest. And oh, it's okay, okay. And I was very fortunate. I was seen like within 2 weeks, and a month later, I was having surgery. So I was very lucky during that time not to have any treatment postponed or anything, and very thankful to Marks and Spencer's, because I might not have found that lump otherwise.
Sponsorship
Yeah.
options available, M&S. For
Absolutely,
both
yes.
Sophie and us.
And actually, I hate an ill-fitting bra. So this is give me a moment to appreciate an ill-fitting bra, because
We'll make sure and note all our
or
bra
maybe a
sizes down in the show
reminder.
notes for Marks and Spencer's to send us some
Yes.
freebies.
Or a reminder for the ladies to fill, to check your boobs and
Yes,
have a little
definitely
fill up.
check your boobs.
There
Yeah.
was a wonderful campaign, wasn't there? That was something like Fiddly Boobs or I've not got
Oh,
the name right.
I think it was
Oh, here.
Copperfield.
Copperfield, that was it. Yes.
Not
Yes.
fiddle with your
Not fiddle with your boobs.
boobs.
But if you're checking them, I don't mind what way
Yeah,
you're doing it, as long as you are
exactly.
checking them. Yeah.
Not to do
Exactly.
it in a somber tone,
Yes.
but ladies, the time is upon us.
Ah.
That
Oh,
was
I
a bit,
know.
Nikki.
it was, yeah.
But yeah, time is running out again. We have to let Sophie out of the rabbit hole, or it's going to get illegal. We're tiptoeing the line as it is. So Sophie, you are going to send us links, aren't you? So if the listeners want to learn more about
I
you
will.
and your books, what you do, who you work with at the moment, and how they can get in touch with you.
Thank you. I will do that. And thank you so much for having me down your
Oh,
rabbit
it's
hole.
been a pleasure.
Can I ask, Sophie, have you got a final word for the listeners about what you would promote for like a deaf positivity movement? What would you?
I would say to whatever your relationship is with your nearest and dearest, just try and have those conversations. Um, and just tell them you love them too, because don't put things off, because tomorrow isn't promised to us, but hopefully it will come. But just love those people close to you, and try and live a life without fear.
Yeah, and if we can maybe talk a little bit about death, that will help us to live with a bit less fear. Yeah. I was trying to really promote. I mean, I don't think they're going to want to use this podcast as part of the deaf positivity
Probably not.
movement now. No, they did. They did. That's true.
Absolutely. I
Yes,
think
that's
so.
true.
It's good.
Thank
Lovely
you.
listeners, we are at the end. I did it again. See, we're at the end. And we'd just like to remind you we are on Patreon if you want more bonus content and the next episode before everybody else.
We're gonna put Nikki's funeral plan up there for you. Even more delights than she said on the podcast.
So remember, listeners, to follow the Red Rabbit wherever you're on social media. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Do remember to subscribe wherever you're listening to, because your subscription doesn't cost anything and it means the world to us, because we are still a new podcast and it helps us out tremendously. Bye, listeners. Thanks for being
Thank you,
with us.
Sophie.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.